Liron Azrielant, but everything else is true.
Hi.
Hi, Ofir. How are you?
Great, and it's great to be here.
Um, yeah, before we get into our plethora of questions, maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself and maybe also about Eon.
Sure. So, really great being here, and thank you for hosting me, and thank you for the wonderful team which organizes this conference. My name is Ofir. I'm married to the amazing Julia. I'm father to Rom, who is objectively cutest baby ever born. That's the most important thing about me. In addition to that, started programming when I was young. I was in 8200 for 6 years, and then left and started 4 companies in total. This is my fourth. First one didn't know what I'm doing, raised $6 million, company got shut down. I learned a lot. Second and third companies got acquired. Most recent one was a company which got acquired by Amazon on January of 2019, a company called Cloud Endure. And in this company, we created technology which enabled large companies to move from on-premises to the cloud without downtime data loss, mainly for the purpose of protecting those workloads on premises so that in case something happens, they can immediately use the cloud as secondary storage. Amazon acquired us on January of 2019. Since then, we grew the business. We got to about $1 billion of revenue run rate, a bit over more than that. And then we had a front row seat on looking at all those companies really moving to the cloud, encountering the real problems, the first problems with real workloads in the cloud, especially around resilience. Small companies think that the cloud is infinite and secures everything. Really big companies understand that it's just another data center. The cloud is just someone else's computer. And the bits are on the internet. And this is a very big problem. And we had a front row seat on looking exactly what's happening with those large companies. So we really want to start another company. And today, I'm the CEO of a company called Eon, which does exactly that. Based on what we've seen for the last 12 years or so, I've been very much involved with data, in backup, in resilience, in the cloud in general. We're doing something much along those lines. We're doing a cloud backup for enterprise infrastructure. In addition to that, by the way, as a hobby, I'm a very active angel investor, invested in 41 companies, including some with you, and advising you of venture firms, both in Israel and abroad. And that's my hobby. Some likes Netflix. I like doing that.
Nice. What Ofir neglected to say about Eon is in the first 12 months of the company existence, they've raised an oversubscribed round, $20 million round led by Sequoia, followed immediately by a $30 million oversubscribed round led by, I'm just not going to say the oversubscribed, it's implied, right? $30 million round led by Lightspeed. 4 months after, $80 million round led by Green Oaks, and then a $17 million round led by Bond. They've effectively broke the record previously set by Wiz as the Israeli company, making it to unicorn status the fastest and making them maybe one of the most interesting companies here in Israel. So on that topic, Ofir, I've once heard someone says, getting fundraising advice from Ofir Erlich is a little bit like getting dating advice from a supermodel. So I guess my first question to you is, if you weren't you, like if you still had all your capabilities, everything you know, but you were not going into the market with the reputation you have and with being a fourth-time founders like you are, if you were a first-time founder, what would you have done differently?
First, I got to tell you, I think it's an advantage to do it time and time again, especially because people know you. But I think that first-time founders definitely have a real shot on building very large businesses. Look at many of those large companies in the world started as first-time founders. I think what differentiates, in my opinion, between successful founders, successful companies, and less successful startups, are the strength of the team, not just as individuals, but as they interact with each other. And in addition, how much research and how much depth they got into the market they're going into, and whether they could actually really solve the problem, both because there is a problem, both because they can actually access the market and both because they can solve that in the relevant, let's call it, technology way.
Makes sense. And are there mistakes, in looking at it from an experienced founders, what mistakes do you actually see second and third time founders make, or stuff that they're not aware of?
I think that the market right now is a bit polarized, and the second time founders are, especially when looking at areas like cloud infrastructure, AI infrastructure, DevOps, cyber, of course, are able to raise money in a relatively very easy way. And the problem with that is that they not necessarily do enough research before starting. They get preempted pretty fast. And it's important to remember, especially for second-time founders, that raising money is just a means to an end. The fact that you raise money doesn't mean that you succeeded. It just means that the journey has started. And my greatest recommendation to anyone, especially second-time founders, because they sometimes miss that, is that doing your research early on before you have a very big ship that is already sailing is invaluable, almost. Well, actually, it's valuable because the investors appreciate that. But I think that's the number one advice I would give to second-timers.
Great. A lot of founders, and also a lot of investors, honestly, speak a lot about the buzz or the reputation that founders have. Sometimes it's because they're second-timers, but sometimes even just very talented human beings have this buzz around them. Looking into aspiring founders, maybe founders looking to launch their next business, how can you control it? What can you do to kind of like create this buzz around you?
So it's a very hard question. I've been asked about the FOMO question. How do I generate FOMO, like every time? I can't tell you that I know for certain what the answer is. I think there are multiple answers. I can tell you that what works for me and what works for companies I've been working with and seeing it doing it very successfully is bringing something very unique to the table, whether it's the right background, purposely built for that job that you want to do, or that you're very experienced and that people in the industry understand that. It's very important that you communicate it effectively. It means that we need those relationships with investors, with colleagues, with partners, with employees. Those things are really important. We don't work in a void. I strongly believe that if you want to build a big company, you need to get all the help you can get. And especially this goes to FOMO, fear of missing out. The way to do that is to have so many good people around you that believe in you and believe in what you're doing. It could be because they've seen you do it previously. It could be because you work together somewhere else. It could be because they just believe in you. T1 investor, I know, a very smart guy, told me that in cyber, for example, the way that they invest is they don't understand what differentiates this idea from that idea, etc. They look at who else is in the room who believes in the founders and the ability to create the company. If there are enough such people and smart people, they want to do the deal.
Very good. Last question is actually for the investors in the room. What are your thoughts around value add? What could funds do to actually increase their value to founders?
Well, I'm going to first mention that you are an investor in I think all of our rounds, and so we know each other from before. We made several investments together, but actually came to know you and other funds as a portfolio company as well. I'm very optimistic. I'm actually one of those crazy people who think that you can actually extract value from really good investors. Not from all of them. 70% to 80% SOAR investors are just either between not helping and really, really hurting the company. I'm sorry for that, but I think it's true. Some investors, the top 10, 20, 30%, depends who you ask, are actually able to really bring concrete value. Concrete value could be really good advice, but it could actually be introducing you to talent, helping you close deals, whether it's employees, whether it's partnerships, whether it's customers, and getting to introducing you to the next investors in a very warm way. It's not just saying, hey, please connect, but also curating all those conversations and taking it from top to bottom, making sure that you're successful in closing the deal.
Thank you, Ofir. It's an honor to compete in the competition and who tries and manages to bring the most value to E.ON out of all of your great investors.
We have a leaderboard, so that's we try to make sure that everyone competes for that, and it's beneficial both for us to know them and to see who brings the most value, and to them to know us as well. So I think it's a two-way street.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.